Michael Zollo here from Baker Young Stockbrokers in Adelaide, and today I'm chatting with Mike Hudson, MD of Southern Cross Gold, about their upcoming IPO. Mike, how are you going?
Michael, a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mike, I believe that Southern Cross Gold has been spun out of a TSX-listed vehicle, Mawson Gold. Tell us a little bit about how Mawson came to develop their Victorian assets and why you spun them out into a new IPO.
Yeah, Michael, it's basically a 2-year story. It's just immediately before COVID, we had the opportunity to acquire these Victorian assets. The background is that I owned a number of them 20 years ago, and I only joke that I was 20 years too early in promoting a Victorian gold opportunity that I always knew was there, but the capital markets hadn't sort of clicked on to the opportunity, nor Fosterville and the renaissance of the goldfield. So I saw all this capital coming from Canada. I've been on the TSX for a long time, the last 20 years, and I thought this would be great to have a piece of the action here in Victoria. I saw the opportunity, the geological opportunity, and we obviously canvassed shareholders at the time, saw that they knew that we had a good project in Finland. They didn't want to see the pivot, but they saw the opportunity, and the discussion was, well, let's spin them out when the time's right. And we've spent over $6 million in the ground over the last 18 months, haven't stopped a drill rig since that point, and made a couple of bona fide discoveries, and now they're ready to go on their own.
And you say that you've spent around $6 million on the asset thus far. Tell us a little bit about what you've got for that, and what shareholders can expect in the very early days due to this exploration.
Now, so Southern Cross is not promising a discovery. We've got 2 discoveries at least in our hands here, and one flagship project, the Sunday Creek project. So we've got some very strong results. We've drilled out over around 1 kilometre of strike down to 400 metres depth, and the continuity is looking very good. The grade and widths are looking very good. So we're not promising a discovery. We're actually continuing to drill through the IPO period, but not assaying. So there'll be a suite of results come to the table, and then you'll see us have a 2-pronged approach basically, and one is to drill out and gain further confidence on a number of those zones at Sunday Creek, so we can look to put resources around them, and basically have another rig doing the exploration. So it's open in all directions. It's open for 10 kilometres, for example, the Sunday Creek project. So we're only looking at less than 10% of the project so far. So we can't forget the upside and showing how big it can be. But likewise, we can't just go and sprout holes around the countryside without putting some monetary value around these prospects.
Okay. And as you say, you've had a couple of bona fide discoveries. You're obviously in a neighbourhood that's known for big gold discoveries. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your sort of 2 significant neighbours in particular, and about how your results compare to some of the early results they had?
Yeah, the light bulb for Victorian gold re-emerged. I mean, let's remember Victoria was one of the supersonic goldfields of the day up until about World War I, and built the English expansion around the world, built Melbourne and a lot of Australia. But people forgot until about 5 years ago, and there is a genuine renaissance based on that one word I used before, Fosterville, and it's looking for a specific type of gold, which we call epizonal. That's a good geological term, but it's a very different style of gold than what's been looked for before. Fosterville was an oxide mine, went down refractory until they found this very high-grade Cinderella zone that made it the best, highest-grade gold mine in the world. And then just a mine just in the same area, Costerfield, also owned by a Canadian company, is the 6th or 7th highest grade gold mine on Earth. So we've got 2 of the highest grade gold mines on Earth. Our projects are within 10 to 20 kilometres of both those projects. In fact, we've got the direct mine extensions of that Costerfield system, which is already a 2 million ounce system. Our projects abut the Costerfield leases, and we've got 3 of the historic epizonal mines that exist in Victoria. So there's 3 that we have, then there's the 2 mines, and there's a few others. So there was only 9 in total. So we're taking the low-hanging fruit within the shadow of the head frame.
And so obviously you'll be drilling around the clock when you list. And how long do you think it'll take before the company can be working towards a JORC resource? Or is that not the initial target? You just want to get drilling and see how big the thing is?
Yeah, it's always a fine balance, and I struggle to answer that question, because maybe 3 or 4 months ago I thought we were working towards a resource quite quickly, and we've since then taken some very big step outs down to 400 meters and continuing to hit the system. So it's got a lot bigger, a lot quicker, which will require a lot more drilling to put into the resource. So it's a nice problem to have. But you certainly can have a look with the team. Myself, I co-founded Mawson, and over the last 3 years, we put together a 1 million ounce discovery up there at 3 grams in Finland. And you'll see that we built that basically by a maiden resource of 300,000 ounces, then 700,000 ounces, then 1 million ounces over a 3-year period. And that's the way we like to do things. It de-risks the project, as long as you can demonstrate to people that, you know, it's only a start and not the end when you go through these interim resource steps. So yeah, I think that's the way we'll play it. It's a bit early to give exact predictions on month, but I think, you know, by next year, we'll be very well assured of where we'll be heading. But it's certainly not something we're going to shy away from in the short to medium term in terms of putting a resource together.
Great. Okay. And talking about the team, do you want to tell us who are the key players that are going to drive Southern Cross Gold?
Yeah, sure. So obviously myself, I'm a geologist, and 30 years experience around the world. Really love discovery, and in the last cycle took a number of discoveries to $500 million market cap. So I love discovery. I love that the capital markets will absolutely capitalize or fund discovery, and then see when you get lucky like we are here, and with a bit of smarts to create that value in the ground. Our chairman, so I'm the MD, our chairman or non-exec chairman is Tom Eady, who's well known across the Australian industry. He's my old boss from the 90s in Pasminco. We worked in Pasminco for 10 years together, which was one of the thought leaders in the day from an exploration point of view. And I'm so happy to be working with Tom again. And then we've got 2 other Neds, David Henstridge, a seasoned explorer, and Georgina Carnegie, who is very well versed in government and administration. And, you know, once we find something, she'll be the person to really help unlock the key there. And then we've got a bolt-on technical team who we've been working with over the last 2 years, headed by Lisa Gibbons, ex-Newmont, and a number of very seasoned geologists. And so you don't have to worry about us pulling together a team or trying to find geologists or trying to find drill rigs. They're already in place, and it's a locked and loaded exercise here.
Fantastic. Now, you've lodged the prospectus today. Do you want to just quickly talk around the capital structure, the timing, that sort of thing?
On IPO, if we raise $10 million, we'll have a $32 million valuation with a $22 million enterprise value. Of that, you should know that this is an extremely tight stock. So we took 2.7 million at 16 cents in the pre-IPO. So that will be around 11 or 12% of the overall company. The other major shareholder is Mawson itself, who will own 58% if we raise that 10 million. Now, Mawson is staying whole. It's not distributing its stock. So that is 58% of the stock tied up in the hands of one group who are escrowed for 2 years at least. So with only the pre-IPO, which was a relatively small amount, and then the IPO that we're just about to go through, we think if we get that right, that the share structure will be you know, just what it needs to be to build this business and have people support us.
So Mike, you mentioned that the company's being listed with a $22 million EV. I believe that includes a 10% holding in another ASX listed stock. Do you want to tell the listeners how that got there and what's the relevance of that?
Yeah, that 10% holding, so we're a major shareholder of Nagambie Resources, which trades on the ASX as NAG. Nagambie, we conducted a multifaceted agreement. We bought Sunday Creek from them. They're our joint venture partners on 2 of the other projects. We also have a right of first refusal over their entire land package, which is over 3,000 square kilometres in the centre of Victoria, in the heart of epizonal country. So that's a built-in deal flow. And then the other key point is that Nagambie, of which we're a major shareholder, the major shareholder at 10%, is also constructing a CIL plant, or a gold processing plant, at their mine site. It's an old mine called the Nagambie mine. So that gives us potential access to that mine, that mill, or the gold processing site as well. So we're really looking towards the future in terms of not only discovery and drilling out, but if we find something, put resources around it, how are we going to get it out of the ground, and where are we going to process it? And this just gives us a heap of flexibility.
Mike, last week gold revisited its 2020 high of around $22,075 an ounce. Investors are starting to look around the market for sort of cheap gold exposure. How do you guys compare with what else is out there in the space?
Well, I think the simple way that we describe it is that we're really pricing this IPO at quite a modest level, and that has a bit of history to it. 6 months ago, we sought our in principle approvals from the ASX, and it's taken some time together with the TSX to get things all sorted. And in that period of time, we've made our best discoveries, the Sunday Creek discoveries at depth, and significant depths, hundreds of meters below our other results, and the best drill holes. So, for example, we're drilling 11 meters at half an ounce at 300 meters, and then another 5 meters at 10 grams below that, 100 meters below that. Now, none of that was factored into the valuation at the time, but we had a business plan and we're sticking to it. So what we say is, we've got a low quartile valuation, and certainly that's in some of the deck that we put together. And I implore your listeners and people you speak to just go and benchmark this discovery against others in the state. And certainly what we would say is it's a top quartile discovery compared to our peers. So top quartile discovery in the exploration space, valued at the lower quartile end.
Excellent. Okay, and for people wanting more information, Mike, where should they head?
Well, the main document here is the prospectus, which you just mentioned, Michael, that we've just lodged. That can be found on our website, southerncrossgold.com.au, or of course, they can seek advice and support and help from Baker Young and a Baker Young advisor.
Absolutely. It's been great to chat with you, Mike, and I look forward to the IPO.
Thanks for your time, Michael.